Hello, welcome to Breakfast All Day. I'm Matt here with Alonso and Christy. We used to think that Sean Connery's Irish accent was one of the worst we'd ever seen on film, as seen in both The Untouchables and Darby O'Gill and The Little People. However,
That's a reach.
somebody seems to be interested in redeeming him because the accents I hear in Wild Mountain Thyme are just god awful. Christy and Alonso will tell you all about it.
And the thing is, Jamie Dornan is Irish.
He is.
He's Irish. He's from Belfast,
Yes.
which is clear across the country on a totally different coast.
Northern Ireland, but still Ireland.
Yes, from County Mayo, where this takes place. This is written and directed by John Patrick Shanley, based on his Broadway play Outside Mullingar. And it is a big, chunky bowl of Irish stew. It's like every stereotype. It's aerial shots of the verdant rolling hills and quaint country roads with like fiddles and pan flutes playing in the background. And like you half expect some leprechaun to come bounding across the countryside, worried about the kids stealing me Lucky Charms.
It smells like Irish spring.
Yes, they're fresh and clean as a whistle. And Christopher Walken doing what now is the absolute worst Irish accent ever known to mankind. I mean, he's basically just doing the same kind of like halting cadence that he is known for, with like the slightest sprinkle of a brogue on top of it.
I mean, it's Christopher Walken.
He says, "The farm belongs to you. The land is yours, my son." It's really bad. And I don't know, does he mean it? I asked myself that question a lot watching this movie. Like, John Patrick Shanley, does he mean it? Is he this earnest in like piling on all the Irish stereotypes, or is it like meant to be delivered with like a wink and a nod of self-parody? I didn't know the whole way through. Anyway, so Emily Blunt is Rosemary Muldoon.
Yes.
And she is a fine lass. And so she and Jamie Dornan have grown up side by side on these farms in this incredibly idyllic part of Ireland. And they are clearly meant to be together. They have these adjoining farms, but there's this little piece of land in between them, this little driveway that's been under dispute for decades. And there's a flashback to their childhood that explains why they are not together, which explains why there's like a kind of playful frostiness between them. And they're both
she's
single.
always pined for him.
Right. They're both single, and he pines for her, but he's like awkward. And she's like sassy, and she's a spitfire, and she's got this horse that always runs away in an incredibly obvious metaphor. And he's like sweet and awkward, and he falls out of boats and falls off of walls. And like Jamie Dornan, comedy is not his strong suit. This kind of like wacky physical comedy, I don't know, man. Like
I think he's game. I will give him that he's game.
Yeah, I'm not sure he's ready for it yet. So basically we're just waiting around for 102 minutes for them to finally profess their love for each other. In the middle of it is the dispute over the land. John Hamm swoops in as the
American cousin
from America, from New York City, who thankfully is not stuck doing an accent. It's funny, when he shows up, you realize this movie actually takes place in the modern day. Like as I was watching it, I'm like, oh, this is like the 80s, because they're all wearing like horrible clothes and they have big old televisions. And but then he's from New York in the modern day. And so he's sort of there as like our conduit to marvel at how like beautiful this place is, but how also stuck in time it is. And so Christopher Walken narrates the whole thing. "Welcome to Ireland. My name is Tony Riley. I'm dead." He's dead. What is he? So it's like a whimsical bowl of lucky charms.
Yeah.
You got to read Jessica King at the playlist, who is Irish, who's fucking hysterical. She's really, really funny. And she wrote the whole thing. She did this sustained bit where she's writing it in like over the top Irish
brogue.
Yes, it's great.
My thing with this movie is yes, but like everything that everybody says about it is totally true. And yet this movie is so stupidly charming, or at least Emily Blunt and Jamie Dornan are so stupidly charming that by the end of it, I was like, all right, I give up. I give up, movie. You win. Like I couldn't fight against it anymore. And yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. And it makes you appreciate the tightrope that Moonstruck is walking.
Right.
The way that
Shanley wrote and what an Oscar for.
Yes, Shanley wrote that script. And it's like the way that those characters talk about love and the way they talk about each other and their own lives and all that stuff is so heightened and so theatrical and so like everybody's a character in a crazy opera or something. And so he's doing it again here. And you're kind of like, how did you but again, I was beaten into submission by the end of the movie. But you're right, most of the film, it's like he's going for a will they or won't they, but it's really just to get on with it already. Because you know what's going to happen. You absolutely know, as in with most rom-coms, you know where it's going. The journey is the point, and the journey is cuckoo bananas. But I can't say that I didn't like it and that I didn't enjoy it by the time it was over. So I feel very weird about it.
I described it, I think, as relentlessly whimsical, I think is how I described it in my review for Ebert. I suspect that perhaps you've watched too many of these Hallmark romances and you're suffering some kind of like Stockholm syndrome with them.
Could be.
And this is why you went easy on it.
It's like being run over by the most festive St. Patty's Day parade ever.
Oh my God. So this also, as we said with The Prom, which is also relentlessly perky, in the moments where Wild Mountain Thyme calms down, and allows these characters to actually interact with each other. That's when it worked for me. There's a great scene toward the end where Emily Blunt and Jamie Dornan are just trapped in this house together during a rainstorm. And they finally talk about things.
Yes.
And there's tension, legitimate tension, because part of it is like it's so claustrophobic and it feels so tight. I mean, this whole community is so insular that it feels claustrophobic. But when they're just sitting in like this dark kitchen, like when they get the chance to actually settle down and act, it works. It really works. And because Shanley's writing it leaps and snaps off the page quite frequently, and the two of them do have a nice chemistry with each other, but only really infrequently do you see the legitimate substance of their relationship. And this scene is really it. And then he tells her something and the whole thing goes off the rails. Like whatever goodwill it may have engendered with some truth and legitimate tension and feeling, he tells her something that explains why they can't be together. And I'm like, really? Like, and again, this is one of the many times I'm like, is this supposed to be funny? Like, is it whimsical? Is it baffling? I don't know how to explain it. Does he mean it?
Yeah, look, the rational part of me is like, yeah, this is a hot mess, but it's a delicious hot mess. So it's like
very pretty.
If you're in the mood for this sort of thing, I think you might just sort of enjoy it. If you're willing to go to where it is, you might find yourself kind of having fun with it. Yeah, I'm not proud of it, but it pummeled me with its charm. What can I say?
What is your number then?
I gave it a 6.5.
Okay, I'm saying 4.8. So our number is a 5.7.
That's totally fair.
Is it? Okay.
I think so.
Yeah, if you want the escape, if you want like the sweet mindless escape.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I think both Jessica and I use the term tourist board when talking about the cinematography, but I mean, like it only rains when it's metaphorically necessary in this movie. It's that kind of film. Anyway, thanks for watching. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, like this video, follow us at BeFastAllDay on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/BeFastAllDay. We're recapping The Mandalorian and The Queen's Gambit. We've got lots of other fun stuff that it's exclusive to our subscribers. So you'll want to check that out. Have a good week, everybody. We'll take care. Until next time. Bye.
Bye.